everybody, I'm Ashley.
I'm Nathan.
And we are here for the next review of the X-Files Season 11. And this is for episode 2, and it is called This. Now, Nathan, give us your background of the X-Files.
I've actually been watching X-Files since it started.
Yes.
But not as ravenously as you have.
Right.
I watched it kind of randomly. Because I've always been into, like, the mystery, unexplained mysteries, like Bigfoot and aliens and all kinds of monsters. And X-Files is based on a show I used to watch called Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Yeah.
Which starred the father from A Christmas Story, Darren McGavin.
Thank you.
So,
the last episode, I could not remember his name for the life of me, and I was really embarrassed by it.
Yeah, he played a reporter who basically stumbled upon all this like unexplained mystery monster stuff, werewolves, vampires, more traditional type monsters.
And if I remember correctly, Nathan, he was kind of Mulder-ish in high school, right? You used to go to the library all the time and research all that stuff.
I used to read all that stuff, and I kind of dressed more Mulder-ish than I do.
Yeah.
I was Mulder for Halloween once.
You were. I was Scully for Halloween once, but
not the same year.
Not the same year, which is really
we
stupid.
We have to do that again someday.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I have always loved the supernatural and things like, and the occult and everything, but I don't believe that I researched it as ravenously as you did.
I used to really hardcore read all the
I kind of just
books
got,
I
feel like I got all of that out by watching X-Files.
Yeah.
That's probably how I was.
Yeah.
But,
and, I was going to say, I really enjoyed the X-Files, but the reason I think I didn't get into it to the degree that you did is because I actually liked the random monster episodes more than the long-running alien conspiracy thing that became really took over kind of the show, and I don't dislike that at all.
Right.
But I was coming out of the Kolchak
stuff, which is the monster of the
and at the same time, X-Files mostly invented monsters. It wasn't as many classic type monsters. It was more original. You
mean they didn't specifically use werewolves? Although they did, they did have werewolves, but it wasn't like Lon Chaney werewolf type.
Like they had a vampire episode that's probably my favorite episode.
I remember that. Yeah.
It's the episode I probably remember the best. You know.
What did you think of the overall episode, Nathan? Did you like it?
I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah? I really enjoyed the episode. I really, really liked it. I thought that it was very action-packed. Lately, they've been having more action-packed type episodes, and I feel like they're trying to keep up with the modern style of things. I don't know, because X-Files used to be very. They would have their moments of action. They definitely had their moments of action. But through the episode, it would be, there would be lulls and just quiet time.
Well, it was just this noir kind of monster noir, like Kolchak was,
It seems like now, at least with the previous episode, My Struggle 3, it felt like that was just constantly going.
And well, you know what? I think when they do the story arc stuff, the alien storyline, that's when they tend to have more action.
True. Yeah. For the most part, yeah.
From what I remember, but yeah. This episode had that whole. Do you want to describe what the episode was about?
Yeah, absolutely. This one was about finding Langley. You guys remember Langley? The Lone Gunman. He was amazing, and I loved The Lone Gunman, and I loved the Lone Gunman TV show, and I wish they would bring that back. They should. I really think so.
Well, they're all supposed. Well, they are. They're all
dead, but they could.
Is this a spoiler thing though? By the way, I know that's not a spoiler, but spoilers.
Yeah, this is spoilers. Well, you should know that the Lone Gunmen are dead.
Yeah, already. That's old.
So that's old news.
But I have to admit, I didn't remember that. But again, as the show progressed, that's when I was seeing less of it because there was more focus on the alien stuff.
It was definitely...
Which I do like alien stuff, but again, it was just...
Well, David Duchovny left, and he was just coming on for guest star appearances in season 9.
You know what? That's partly what lost me. I remember that it was... You know, they were starting to have new people, and which even like
Doggett and Reyes.
When it came back, they had like a new pair.
And you know what? Yes, it wasn't the same to me, but I still loved it. I don't know. I still loved it. It was still X-Files, and Gillian Anderson is amazing, so she carried that show for sure. And Chris Carter has even said that it's definitely we've at least at the beginning we thought it was Mulder's show, but he's always said that it's Scully's show. And it makes sense because of the first episode. You see Scully walking through the hallway, and they interview Scully first, and then she takes everybody to Mulder.
I feel like it's fairly balanced.
I think so too, but I don't know. I mean,
from the beginning, I feel like it's pretty balanced. And I can see why somebody would consider it Mulder's show, because there's a lot of focus, or at least for quite a while there was, on his family, his sister, and all that stuff.
Well, really,
his whole...
It's about his struggles.
His struggle with what was real and what isn't and all that.
Which it's still a struggle.
So, I know they started to get more into Scully for a while, and I almost feel like that was probably reactionary. It's like, oh, we better... cover both characters.
Well, she got pregnant, and so they had to write it into the storyline.
Well, I mean, like with her family and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
getting to know her family and everything.
I mean, we got to know her a little bit with oh gosh, what's the episode? Beyond the Sea, I think that's what it's called. I love that episode. That is the episode with where her father passes away, and I forget the actor's name, but he's the actor who played Chucky.
Oh yeah. My gosh.
I know. I forget his name, but
I want to say Brad Dourif or something. Is that somebody else?
That sounds accurate. Anyway,
I normally
don't kill
would
us.
know this. That's probably totally wrong,
but he's an incredible actor, and just seeing them, act with each other.
Way wrong. I don't know.
But I mean, they started introducing, Scully's storyline a lot at that point too. And that was season 1. So, but we should talk about this episode.
Yeah, talk about it. I gotta look that name up.
Okay, so
because I feel like an idiot for forgetting that guy's name, and I'm probably way off.
So in this episode, the episode is called This.
I was right. It's Brad.
You're right.
Dourif. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce the last name.
Okay, so yeah. Okay. So they're playing the Ramones at the beginning, and then there are these assassins that are going in to kill Mulder and Scully, and Mulder and Scully are on the couch just asleep, and they come in and they start shooting up the place, but I don't want to go too into plot exposition and stuff like that, but that's what starts off the episode, and then throughout the whole episode, Mulder gets a message on his phone, a video message, and it's from Langley, which, as I said before, is the lone gun is a part of the lone gunman, and he's supposed to be dead. So the whole episode is of us trying to figure out, where Langley is. Is he really alive? Is this an old recording? What's going on? And who's trying to kill Mulder and Scully? I mean, people are always trying to kill Mulder and Scully, but so yeah, that's the whole episode, and
it tries to be topical because it's the group that's killing them. It's a group of, I guess, Russians.
Well,
and they're tying it into all the controversy with the president right now, and Russia and everything. And
so I would have to watch the episode again because I didn't quite get where. Okay, so they were a group of Russians that are kind of, I guess, hired by the government to
it was some kind of
penalize the agents, the federal agents. I don't know.
I don't know if that's what. Well,
that's
it was something
what I got
about
from it.
how
It was from
the
the
government
US
was working with Russians that was like a thing.
Yeah, and Mulder and Scully
I
were
feel like
surprised.
it was more than that, but maybe.
Mulder and Scully were surprised that they had the ability or the authority to go in there and, but Skinner was in this episode, and he was explaining the whole thing. And if you guys remember, Skinner is kind of, Mulder and Scully don't trust Skinner right now because of a previous episode. They don't know that he was speaking to the cigarette smoking man. Well, Mulder smelled smoke on him, so maybe. But I don't know. So they don't trust him right now. But he was trying to help them out, and they're always joking about how Mulder and Scully are Skinner's children, like lost rebellious children. And I just thought it was funny when he was like, "Do you guys have money?" And then Mulder and Scully just looked at each other and they were like, "No." And then Skinner had to give him cash. That was hilarious. Yeah. I mean, obviously their place just got destroyed and they didn't have money, but they couldn't reach for it. But
yeah, but now how about Langley and what's going on with Langley?
Okay, well, Langley. So Langley, I mean, it turns out basically that Langley uploaded his subconscious or his conscious mind to a computer system of some sorts.
Yeah, but this wasn't something he did. This was like...
No, he
They made him an offer.
Yeah, they made him an offer to do it.
There's like this conspiracy type thing where he was offered, and I don't know how they approached him with this, whoever did it, but I guess as an experiment maybe.
Right.
Some organization said that we have a way to make people live forever.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've heard of this before. Like this is a thing that there are some cults that believe this is a real thing, and maybe it is. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
But that they upload a part of your mind into a sort of virtual reality.
Okay.
And you're gonna live there. It's like being downloaded or uploaded into the computer.
Right.
And it's like a whole like perfect like paradise that you can live in. And he made a deal
because
to go there with this
woman. Apparently, he had fallen in love with this woman, which we had
never. They were going to go together,
and we had never heard about her, unless I'm not even sure. But maybe this woman made an appearance in the Lone Gunman series, and I just don't
really
remember.
Saw that show?
I saw the show, but I don't remember. I barely remember anything from that show. So it's possible that she made an appearance there. You guys let us know in the comments if she did, and I'll look it up. But yeah, so he fell in love with this woman, and they wanted to live together, be together forever, and so they uploaded their minds into this computer system. And it turns out that instead of it being this paradise, it's basically a work. Like they're using them as...
they're like getting like super genius people and using them to like... Somehow they're forcing them to find a way to make the people who are instigating this...
Right.
Immortal for real.
Right.
You know?
And it kind of reminds me of... I'm also obsessed with World War II. It kind of reminds me of how in World War II they were getting scientists. The Nazis were using scientists, of any kind, just to try and create bombs.
Do all
and
kinds of
everything.
things, yeah.
And all kinds of
experiments
things,
like crazy.
Right.
So it was like there was a sinister thing behind it, and on top of that, I guess also it seemed like just the fakeness of the world that he was in.
Yes.
The way everything was too perfect also was something. So basically, he was reaching out to Mulder to like shut the whole thing down.
He wanted to die. He didn't want to live there anymore. Also, I kind of have a feeling that he might have not wanted the woman he loved to have been
to go
there.
But she was still alive.
Yeah,
at the moment,
she was still alive at the time.
Because they went and like interviewed her about it.
They went and interviewed her, and unfortunately, she got killed. So she got uploaded, I guess, right at the instant she was killed, maybe, because they said that two minds could not be in existence at one point in time.
Yeah.
So the minute she died, it must have happened.
But the weird thing about it is they kind of apparently they even told them it won't be you,
Right.
And that's kind of something that I was, and even when people in real life have talked about this because I heard this decades ago. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people like, well, like at least 10 years ago, at least. You know, this concept of like how we're gonna be immortal, and that's the way we're gonna be immortal.
Right.
You know, uploading our mind into some kind of like maybe clone bodies or something like that. But it's like
their mind is there, but their soul is not there. You know what I mean?
Are you just like copying the information,
Well, yes.
or you know? I mean, I feel like that's
I think that's
not
exactly what it
anything.
is.
That's definitely not you. It could be like
I think it's exactly what it is because
at best it's just like a computer program.
at first I was thinking, well, that doesn't, you know, it doesn't. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around it. But the fact that Langley recognized the Ramones. And he recognized like all these other people in
you would be
in
able
the place
to do that
because
you're just memories and stuff.
Information, right? But he also recognized that he thought it was awesome that the Ramones were there. So, but that is also possibly not his feelings. It's just the memory that he liked the Ramones.
Well, and that's why I like this episode. It is a really like. The whole concept is really interesting.
It is really
Again,
interesting.
it's not the first time I've heard this concept or thought about the issue with it, because it's a big issue that for me is like a glaring issue. I feel like, you know, you're not going to wake up in this like new world or new body or however this would come about at any point. You'll still just die, and then like it would be like a clone, really. Maybe a really living one, or maybe just a computer program that's been turned on.
Well, and
that just has all your memories.
Right, but Langley even said himself, he was like, I think I'm Langley.
Well, I thought he was even saying that he wasn't.
I don't know. It was very.
Well, he thinks he's probably, you know, he seemed to like kind of know. He's like thinks he's Langley, but he's not.
Yeah, right.
And
so
that's
that
the
conflict.
thing.
That
you
conflict
know,
there.
Is this even like a real person? This is just like probably just something that.
It's
you know,
just a
thinks
computer
it's, you know, just a program that
it's a
is
program.
Based. I mean, I don't even know if that crosses a line of being sentient or not.
It's almost Tronish.
You know? It's a really interesting thing, but I don't feel like it's the living person, probably.
No.
You know?
Well, and okay, so towards the end, Mulder gets captured, and Barbara Hershey is explaining all this to him. She's basically making him an offer. I guess she's making him the
she's trying
offer
to convince Mulder
to upload, right?
I don't know. She's just kind of.
I think he brings
talking
it
to
up.
him, and he brings it up
because he wants to see it so that he can get in there and destroy it. But he mentioned, you know, I want, if I decide to do this, can I be uploaded, and can Scully be uploaded with me also? And then she looked at him and she was like, it's not going to be really you guys, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As in, like, he wanted like to be with his love forever or whatever, but she was like, no, it's not really going to be you guys.
Yeah, it doesn't really
you know
work.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really sad. But what did you think about? So I mean, that's what the episode was about, and of course Mulder and Scully saved the day, at least for what they think. But they did go back after they had destroyed the computer system, and they saw that everything had been removed, of course, in true X-Files fashion, which I love. I'm so glad they did that. They removed everything, and you know, they like just to hide away. They went and hid away somewhere, and they took the computer system with them and everything. So Barbara Hershey is leading them off somewhere. But what did you think about the acting?
The acting's great.
I thought it was amazing.
And it is better than the previous season.
It is.
It's more.
They have locked
X-Files,
in.
you know?
They have really locked in.
I hadn't noticed Scully's voice.
Oh.
How hoarse it sounds.
That's what.
I hadn't noticed that until now, and maybe it's because it seems like I don't remember the previous season, but I remember. I mean, I don't remember her voice, but the first episode she was like in the hospital.
That happens to a lot of theater actors.
Yeah.
When you're
somehow
trying to project
caught me off guard in this episode. I hadn't really noticed it.
But she locked in so well. She is Scully. You know, like I didn't feel any. It
didn't feel phoned in.
No, at all.
Like in the previous season. Mulder's a lot better. a way lot better.
He's Mulder.
Than he was
great.
in last season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's totally understandable.
It feels a lot like it's feeling a lot like the original show.
And it's understandable for them to not be like connected to the characters as much as they were because it's been years, but if they finally got into it, and I'm so happy. Like they're finally there in this episode. And then Mitch is great. Skinner and. Of course, Barbara Hershey's also always amazing. But and Langley is back. He was so good.
He's not back, but he was back for one.
I know. But
he was back today.
They might bring him back. I mean, at the end, he came back on the phone and he said, "Destroy the backup."
Oh yeah, they didn't.
So
totally,
they didn't totally destroy it.
They weren't as successful as they thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this episode was interesting because it was kind of a monster of the week in the sense that this like computer thing.
Yes.
So I really and I like that. I like the monster of the week thing.
It's very X-Files.
But it also was part of the big story.
And they said they're going to do that this season. They're going to kind of incorporate, even with the monster of the week ones, they're going to like put little bits and pieces of the
which is normal to put little bits. Which is
really good. They used to not do that.
Yeah, I know. But like other shows when they do Monsters of the Week thing will still usually have at least a little bit of their, even Sailor Moon.
Let's see.
Totally just Monster of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
There would still usually be like one little thing that carries it on.
I have my notes here. I forgot to mention, you guys, they mentioned Deep Throat. Deep Throat. I loved Deep Throat in the first season. He was awesome. And we found out what his real name was. And so did Mulder. He didn't know what his real name was, and his real name was Ronald Pakula. Or Pakula. Pakula? Ronald Pakula.
I don't know.
So that's his real name. And if you guys recall, Deep Throat is the man who was Mulder's informant for the first season, and he was gunned down he was trying to help Scully. I think Scully had an alien fetus or something, and if I remember correctly, and he was trying to help Scully because Mulder was lost for some reason, I think, and I don't remember exactly, but anyway, he was gunned down while he was trying to make a transaction with Scully of some sort. So yeah, that was cool. Okay, so let's talk about Frohicke's slight appearance in this, just in memory in this episode.
Yeah, for a second there I thought they were saying that the other two were alive too because they started talking about them, but
Frohicke,
they were going through their computer files.
Yeah, they were going through. Oh, that's another thing, you guys. So they have uploaded all of the X-Files onto a computer drive. That's horrible. That's not gonna work.
What? That's so that they can have easier access to it.
No. The like any agency has access to the files now. Which Skinner was like, well, these files belong to everybody. That's the whole point of them. Which I get Skinner, but at the same time, now I don't know. I feel like that's not good for the government agencies to have access to those files. I guess they know what's going on anyway, but...
Yeah, they're behind all of it anyway.
Who knows? I don't know. That bugs me. But anyway, they uploaded all the files to the computer, to a computer system, and in one of the files, they couldn't find anything on Langley. They had deleted everything on Langley, whoever got a hold of those files. And but they did have stuff on Frohicke still, and Frohicke had the secret files on Langley in a folder called Spank Bank, and it was a picture of Scully on there from like season 2, I think, like when he met Scully. I thought it was hilarious.
It was funny.
I always liked the interaction between Frohicke and Scully. I thought it was cute. And then I also wanted to discuss the tagline in today's episode. It was accuse your enemies of that which you are guilty.
Where do they show the tagline? I don't remember.
It's when it always says I want to believe.
At the beginning?
Yeah. We'll say I want to
You
believe.
stole that from the Clone Wars cartoon.
What?
It always starts
This
out
is
with like a little.
way before Clone Wars, sir.
Oh, were they doing that with the old show?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh my goodness.
I just remember I want to believe.
That was the thing that we would all wait for is when they would change the I want to believe.
I
'Cause
don't remember that. Did they only do that in the later seasons?
I don't know.
I feel like that
don't
must
think
have
so.
been the
No, they
later
didn't
seasons.
because
I don't remember that.
I feel like
at
they
all.
started doing it in season 3 or something. Yeah, I'm almost sure of it. So, and I forgot to mention about in last week's episode, they had on the tagline it said "Trust no one," or no, I want to believe, and then it cut to "I want to lie."
Oh. Yeah.
So, myself and the rest of the internet are pretty sure that that is a major clue that the cigarette smoking man is lying about Scully being his child. Because
what was the part where it seemed clear that he was lying?
There was also another part.
Oh.
We rewatched the episode a few days ago, and we noticed that when he was delivering the line to Skinner about how he was the father of the baby, it seemed like he was lying.
Was it that line?
Yeah. He said, I am the father of the child. I don't remember exactly what he said, but
I don't remember if it was that line, but I know that there was a line. Maybe it was a line where it was obvious that he was lying.
yes, that's the
Which
line.
amazes me because you say that everybody is in an uproar.
Well,
because
everybody's kind of calmed down from it though because they've rewatched.
But in the
episode.
flashback, it is bad. What he did, of course. But
Right.
again, whatever he did was obviously something bad.
See, I always assumed
But-
he had injected her with alien DNA at that time, and I don't, you know what I mean. But I guess I don't know.
I mean,
Scully
something
already
horrible
had-
happened.
Scully
obviously.
already had the alien
But
DNA, so I don't know.
as far as him being like the father, if that was the line, there was definitely a line
Yes,
where he was,
that was the line.
obviously lying.
Well, it's because Skinner blatantly asked him. He said, "Who is?" He said first. He said, "Wait, are you telling me that
Mulder's
that
not the father?"
Mulder's not the father?" And then he didn't say any. Cigarette smoking man didn't say anything. But then when Skinner was like wanting the answer from him, I feel like the smoking man realized how important of a question or answer that was to Skinner. You know what I'm saying? So that's when he just decided to, this guy is gonna go over the edge if I tell him this. Or if I, that's what he does. He manipulates. He's the cigarette smoking man. So I feel like that's what he did. And he was saying, yeah, I'm the father. I feel like he just outright said it. And the way that it was delivered, the line was delivered, it felt like a lie. So I don't know. I hope that we're correct on that.
I don't think they would take away the idea of the two of them having a kid together, Mulder and Scully.
I know,
That
but you
would
never
be just
know.
too
You never know with X-Files.
Yeah. It's true.
Back to this week's episode. I wanted to mention that I really enjoyed the episode because it reminded me of a lot of episodes in the past. There was an episode in season 3, I believe, or one of the earlier seasons where Mulder and Scully were investigating a man who had a corporation and he was working through computers, or he had created a computer system and it had gone haywire and it was causing people to kill.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was reminiscent of that episode, and I love that episode. It was also Kill Switch, the episode. I don't know if you remember that episode.
Maybe. I just remember Bambi.
Bambi is the cockroach episode.
Oh, but she was hot.
Yeah, well, Mulder thought so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of episodes in the past that had that computers are monsters theme, and I love that. So, I mean, the computers were the monsters of the week. So,
I remember a show called The S-Files on Cinemax.
oh my god,
That was a good show. We should do a show talking about that show.
I've never seen the S-Files. Okay.
It's good.
Okay.
But I liked this episode a lot more than I did the previous one.
Right.
Which there was a lot of distractions when I was trying to watch that one.
The My Struggle 3?
Yeah, I didn't get to like really focus on it. Mostly what I took away from that was a lot of car driving.
Oh, Mulder
And
in
I
his
don't
car
remember a lot
and
more
the
than
monologue.
Scully being in the hospital and trying to escape and from the hospital
Mm-hmm.
and Mulder driving his car around and a few
Well,
fights.
it was very much a mythology episode, and they focused on them finding William. And
Oh well, of course
you got to
there was the whole
cigarette smoking man,
that,
and they're really getting into that, which I love.
and when they introduced Barbara Hershey.
I love Barbara Hershey.
She's very cool
She's
in it.
so
Yeah.
awesome. So, I wanted to. Are we done? I mean, do you want to say anything else about the episode?
About that particular episode, like I said, I enjoyed it more than the previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I think about it, the more I like it. Actually, I like that it was a cool, weird idea.
It was.
And again, I had heard of it before, but I don't think I'd seen it in a show before. But what I'm really excited about is next week's episode.
Yeah, the doppelganger.
I'm waiting for that because that's like something I've always been. There was
creeped out by.
Yeah, I used to read about doppelganger cases, and they're fascinating, and it's like parallel dimension type stuff.
Yeah, I'm really excited about
really
it.
big right now, and that's something that I think is highly suspicious. Like, why all of a sudden have parallel dimensions become like the thing right now, and like in sci-fi and just all over the place, and then things that tie into that.
I believe they're also supposed to do a Mandela effect.
Things
episode.
like Mandela effect, or things like doppelgangers, which have always freaked me out.
Yeah, the doppelganger in Kolchak the Night Stalker. You guys need to check out that episode.
Classic doppelganger.
So creepy.
One of the best on-screen
creepy.
interpretations I've seen of a doppelganger. And if you read about some of the true accounts of doppelgangers, there's I always remember one from I want to say from the Victorian era, of this woman who was a teacher, a school teacher, and she was being haunted by a doppelganger that was, I mean, when she'd be somewhere else, the doppelganger would be watching the students or whatever, and or sometimes
so
she'd be teaching class.
Yeah.
And the doppelganger would be sitting on a chair in the corner, and all the kids said, "Yeah, she was right there, over there in the corner on the chair."
Oh my gosh.
And then she just disappeared after a while or whatever. It's just really freaky stuff.
That's amazing.
That's one of the true accounts. If you get a Time Life book about it,
Oh yeah.
I never forgot that story. There's freaky doppelganger.
Makes it
stories.
creepier in the Victorian era too.
Yeah, and it's
So
I feel like I read a lot of them from that era, but
that must have been an important era.
they were really into supernatural stuff.
They
at
definitely
the time,
were.
So
They definitely were.
You got to take especially that stuff with a grain of salt.
With a grain of salt,
Victorian stuff, but it was really interesting and freaky anyway.
That actually.
But I'm excited for that. For
the
next time.
the community online, they're all they're throwing in their theories about what next week's episode is going to be about, and a lot of the shippers are a little bit disappointed because they know, in true X-Files fashion, that any romantic scenes are going to be of the doppelgangers.
Oh, so there's going to be
You know what I mean?
doppelgangers of them?
Oh yeah, you didn't see the preview?
I just barely
They're showing Scully doppelganger. I don't know if they've showed a Mulder doppelganger.
All I remember is that
but
freaky lady doppelganger lady.
Scully, her doppelganger looks evil. She's always giving this scowl face, which reminds me of the Kolchak the Night Stalker doppelganger. It's
so
pretty
cool,
creepy,
man.
so I'm excited.
I gotta watch some Kolchak. It's been a while.
Which brings me to, I wanted to do a little segment. When I was younger.
Is that the title of the segment?
No.
When I was
Younger. No. Back in the days when we would all go online after the X-Files.
Back in the day.
Yeah, in the 90s when we would go online on the computer
back in the day.
and chat about the episode.
I wasn't even born yet.
Oh, shut up. We would chat about the episode. I remember that people would give their review on the shipper moments in the episode. And I apologize. I actually don't apologize. I don't care. But if you guys...
We'll never apologize for anything. Ever.
No. Nathan, are you a shipper?
Sometimes. You mean, are you specifically talking about this show and like...
X-Files. I'm talking about X-Files. Are you a shipper? I think this shipper term was coined for the X-Files, I'm pretty sure.
No way.
People online like made that up for the X-Files. I could be wrong, but...
Well, I mean, with TV shows, to me being a shipper is like when you take two characters that are not
together
specifically, obviously...
Well, that's how it was.
Intended to be... No, dude.
That's how it was
Whenever
initially.
you have a show and you have a lead male and a lead female and there's, you know... They're intended, like they're two single people.
Well, you mean back in the day.
And you put them together.
Times have changed, but...
It's, you know, I mean, you gotta know that the point of that is that eventually they're gonna have a romance. I mean, every TV show ever has been that way.
Okay, well, that's not the definition of shipper, okay?
Well, so to me, it's like when you take some, like, people who ship, like, Hermione
and Harry Potter.
And yeah, Harry Potter.
Hermione and Harry.
I was going to say Snape.
Oh, okay. Well.
That happens a lot,
Okay.
really. I mean, on the internet, I've seen that so much.
Okay. Well, I'm talking...
all I did was type Hermione ship
I'm talking
Snape.
about X-Files.
No, really. But I mean, there are people who do that.
Yeah, I know.
And
those are called...
that's what I think of a shipper.
And they have fanfics and things like that. I used to read all the fanfics. I was such a nerd.
Of what?
of Mulder and Scully shipping.
I mean, from the
and
beginning,
stuff.
I knew it was Mulder and Scully that they were, you know, gonna have a thing.
Okay, well.
So I don't know. I wasn't like all, you can't wait for them to kiss and stuff.
Well, I was 13, so I was. I was 13 when the show was like halfway done. Okay.
Like if somebody was like shipping like Frohickey and Scully, you know, where it's highly unlikely. That's a shipper to me.
Okay. Well, did you want Mulder and Scully to get together? There you go.
Sure.
Yes.
Of course, because but at the same time, I knew that they would.
Okay.
Or else the show just wasn't gonna like have much romance.
See, I think you were a little. I mean, you were older when I was watching the show, so you were a little more mature in that area, and so I don't know. Like I was a squealy teenager when this was going on, so.
Wait a minute, I was a teenager when this show was going on too.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when I was like so obsessed with it. I was a squealy teenager.
Okay. Yeah.
But so I'm going to do, when you would go online back in the 90s, they would have the best shipper moments of the show, of the episode that you just watched. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to do a little nostalgic thing. So, are you ready?
I'm wanting to say, I think the only time I ever started shipping anything might have been with Once Upon a Time.
Oh,
because there was so much like, who's going to end up with who? You really didn't know.
Sure.
You know, it was really like, so I don't know. I guess I've never shipped anyone besides that.
With X-Files, they would throw a wrench in everything. Like, there would be one of Mulder's ex-girlfriends, or Scully would be really moody.
Yeah,
or,
that's a thing. I mean, it's... Or
Mulder would just be a jerk, or there would be bees flying around and one would sting Scully. I mean, so, you know,
I remember that.
There's like things that they would throw in there.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, I guess there was that question of like, are they ever actually going to do it? Because they're just taking forever.
Yeah, exactly.
But I felt like either they're going to get canceled first or they're going to go there, you know, because...
So I do want to mention in this episode, I was getting some major together vibes from a lot of things, and I noticed these things because I'm trained to notice these things.
They've already like had a kid and everything.
No, I know, but they're supposed to be estranged at this point, or you know, they were estranged last season, and now they've come back together.
They were together for like what, one season even? Were they even together for a season?
They were supposedly together for like 3 seasons.
On the
yeah, like they're supposed to be for like half of, or maybe the last part of 7. And all of 8 and all of 9, and then the last movie. So, and they were like living together and stuff in the last movie. But
so I mean, it's happened already. What's left to ship? Just
the
get
fact
back
that
together.
People are going crazy because they're not together anymore.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that sucks. I hate that.
It's like, you know,
yeah,
it's annoying.
But I think they've been like in this estranged like situation for a long time already, to where I don't even care. anymore.
I will say,
But now that it's back, I would like them to get back together.
this was a little weird. They came out with a second movie, and when I saw the second movie and they were very together, I almost didn't want to see it. It was a weird moment.
Well, because when you have like those two characters, which is like a thing again, just in TV shows, when you finally get them together, you're kind of jumping the shark. You're like,
it's awkward.
You got them together,
in a weird
and
way.
then you've ended your show, whether you want to or not. They're together now, so.
Well, what they're doing.
They found a way to do it. They pulled them apart.
Yeah, and now they're like Mulder is flirty. He was flirty in this episode. Scully was kind of like in this episode. I thought.
To me, she's too much that way all the time.
You know,
but I like a clingy girl.
Yeah, she did not used to be that way in the first 3 seasons. She went through, which was valid. She went through an emotional time when she got cancer and stuff, and so she started to get really,
I always remember her being cold
sense.
I always remember her being cold.
Oh, she was
always.
she was so warm in the first few seasons. Very warm and very very like naive almost. It was I don't know. She changed.
Maybe if you're gonna roll your eyes at everything that.
That's how she got. That's how she got the last.
She was that way in the beginning too. It's like Mulder has his ideas and she rolls her eyes, and.
I know, but
to me that's cool.
I don't know. She was a lot more warm earlier on. But anyway, so the first one I want to mention are the couch positions. And I know you're gonna find this ridiculous, but
where they were
this
asleep
is what
on the
people
couch
look
next
at.
to each
Yes.
other?
Okay. So.
Okay.
They were close. Okay. This is not a big.
But they,
shipper
again,
moment.
they live together.
I know, but you don't do that with ex-boyfriends usually. You know what I mean? It's not. I know they're like best friends, but still. So that's one moment. Couch positions. The second moment I have, and these are in no particular order, is when she said "our home."
Yeah,
she said
it's
"our home."
It's that situation where it's like, why did you break up again?
Exactly.
I know people like this too. That there's something about the actual being like officially being together.
Right.
That they can't handle, but then they separate and they don't separate.
Yeah,
they're more of a couple than ever. I know people like
this. She said Skinner was talking to them in the parking garage, and they needed help from Skinner, and she said, "We can't go to our home." Wasn't our homes plural?
Are you sure?
It was singular home.
I didn't catch that. Are you sure?
I even subtitled that to check on that. And this is why the 13-year-old girl, X-Files brings out the 13-year-old girl in me. It's ridiculous. Okay, so that was a plus for shippers. Then we have the we gotta make a trip to IKEA.
No.
Not I.
No, that was just.
To me, that's important.
That's important. Well, I guess because a trip to IKEA is a couple's thing.
Yeah, and he said we have to make a trip to IKEA. Okay.
I don't know. That was just I'm making a little joke, in the situation.
We gotta make a trip, not I gotta make a trip.
Yeah, but because they go everywhere together.
Yeah, they really do. It's really
again, so stupid. Why break up? I don't know. Not like you're going to date anybody else. You never do.
Okay, so the next moment was the handcuff moment, where he was just being all flirty.
The comment?
That was very blatant. He
actually was like,
yeah, she was like or he she said, why are you so good in handcuffs? And then he said, like,
what she said?
Or why are you?
There was a comment about them being in handcuffs, and then he responded like,
he said, like, you don't know, and he was like joking and laughing about it or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was flirty. He was flirty. Then we have.
I don't know if that's flirty or if that's just like a joke. I think.
The way he
makes little jokes, and then your 13-year-old girl mind. Is just reading stuff into it.
See, you're not a shipper.
I guess.
Anyway, okay, so then we have the I have written down Hannibal. I think it's the scene where.
Oh, where he did.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You just wrote down that was awesome. Remember that scene?
No.
It was awesome.
No, this is, oh God, what happened in that scene? It was just really funny because that guy was hitting on her and he went,
oh, yeah.
That was just cute. It wasn't super shippy, but
hilarious,
it was cute.
Though. That guy
It was really funny.
hitting on her. I mean, come on, dude.
And then we have, when he told her that she was adorbs. He used the word adorbs.
I've used that word and you have gotten so mad at me.
Did you see Scully look at him? I mean, she was like, don't use the word adorbs. I hate the word adorbs. But the fact that he was being cute or whatever. Then the last one I have is when he said, "Can I upload Scully with me?" And I know that was just a ploy. That was a ploy. I know it, but he still brought her in there. So.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Okay, so even though you think it was ridiculous, even though you think this, this is the kind of things that shippers did in the 90s.
Wow.
They would look at every little aspect, and I'm including myself in that too, because I was 13. I'm still doing it, obviously. I'm writing this stuff. I thought it would be fun to be nostalgic. So we're going to do this every episode. I'm going to do the shipper count. Shipper count.
How many
So we got 1, 2, we got
broken
7.
hearts is that? 7 broken
7.
hearts. 7
7 shipper moments.
Heartbeats or something.
7 heartbeats, yeah. 7 aliens.
You come up with 7 7
alien
7
fetuses.
Fetuses. 7 real Mulder and Scully fetuses.
Yeah.
Thank you.
7 real Williams. There we go.
Oh God, that's messed
So
up.
anyway, I'm good. Are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it was a good episode. It really was. And the more I think about it, the more I like it. I think the previous episode had some good stuff in it, but a lot of it was not doing it for me. It was just a lot of driving around in cars.
I really liked the last
But
episode.
I liked the parts that were not just driving your car because, I mean, it was supposed to be like really action-y car stuff. Hey, I don't watch the Fast and the Furious movies, and I have, the same kind of action driving home from work on Austin
I don't
freeway.
usually like car chase films either, but when Mulder's
sometimes
having,
I do.
When Mulder's having a car chase, I'm into it. I think it's cool.
But this one overall, I liked it a lot.
I just love seeing Langley again. I think that was great.
But like when I see the trailer for like the next episode, that's more my kind of episode,
Yeah. I think that's a lot of people's kind of episode. I think so.
Turning around on me.
You got your FBI badge?
I got my Mulder one and it keeps wanting to hide. Yeah.
And I've got my I Want to Believe shirt.
That's cool.
With Scully.
It really is Scully.
Yes.
Yeah, where'd you get that?
It's the We Can Do It sign. Rosie the Riveter.
No, but like where'd you get it? Did you get it, like,
I don't remember. One of those t-shirts.
So one of those many t-shirt websites.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well,
Well, if you guys liked this video, then comment. Please, we want to hear from you. And subscribe.
And click the like.
Yeah,
and
all that stuff. Not this one. This one.
Oh yeah, don't do that one. Do this one.
And we're going to be back for next week's episode, which we're really excited about because it's going to be doppelgangers. Okay.
Okay, later.
Bye.
Yeah.